Hey everybody, today we are going to be moving a little bit away from multiplication and kind of turning the spotlight on division and talking about how multiplication and division, they actually have a very special relationship, okay? So they are closely related. And you might be thinking, well, how are they related? They're kind of related because they are the opposite, okay? And so we call this the inverse operation. And we'll get back to that in a minute, but because I have a funny story. Okay, but let's go ahead really fast and look at an easy example of multiplication. Okay, so we'll do 6 times 4 equals 24. Okay, so we've been talking about how this is 6 groups of what? Groups of 4. Okay, 6 groups of 4. So if I were to draw an area model for this, I would say I have 6 groups with 4 in each. So, and if you even wanted to draw in there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you'd say I have 6 groups with 1, 2, 3, 4 in each. 1, 2, 3, 4 in each. 6 groups of 4. And I know this is a basic fact, so you would say 6 times 4. And the solution to this, or factor times factor, is product, is actually, it's 24. It's actually the area. It's what makes up the inside. Okay, so 6 times 4 is 24. Okay, and what I can do is, I'm reading 6 times 4 is 24 going this way. So the inverse operation, so that was using multiplication, but how can I use that to better understand division now? So they're the inverse operation. So if I go this way for multiplication, well then division, so if that was the multiplication, then division, I can go ahead and read it that way. So now I'm reading it almost like backwards. I'm reading 24 divided by 4, and that equals, well, I don't know what it equals, so let's fill that in a minute. So to read it like this, now I know my total or my area. I actually know that. So now if I'm drawing an area model, I say, well, I know there's 24 inside. I know it's being split by groups of 4. So I know kind of like one of the factors in multiplication. And I'm missing the other one. So I'm saying, well, how many groups of 4 can I make? So I could start counting. 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. So I am going to end up making 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 groups. Okay, so when you solve this, you're really kind of saying you're missing one of the factors. Okay, so 24 divided by 4, I found this missing dimension is 6. Okay, now talking about this vocabulary, 24 is the dividend, using math words. I always remember dividend to the end. It's kind of like the front end. Okay? So this is the dividend, this is the divisor, and this, the answer that you're looking for, is called the quotient. Okay? So again, inverse operation. A funny story that I have, and I do not, and I'm looking at you, I do not recommend that you do this, but when I think of the word inverse, I think of in high school, kids used to play pranks where they would invert people's backpacks. And so what invert a backpack means is that you would take all the belongings out and flip it inside out. So then it was like a silly little prank, because then you'd go to pick up your backpack and it would be inverted. So invert, it's kind of like the opposite, to flip it inside out. So instead of reading multiplication, 6 times 4 is 24, we can read it backwards. 24 divided by 4 equals 6. Okay, so that is a very basic overview. And now we're going to do just one problem, just one, that takes it up, because this is such a basic fact. Let's take it up just a notch, okay, just one notch. So we're going to go ahead and look at the problem. 48 divided by 3. So not a basic fact, okay? We can go up higher than this eventually, but just step it up one notch. Okay, 48 divided by 3. So we've got the dividend, we've got the divisor, and we're looking for the quotient. So starting to use that vocabulary. Okay, so I'm gonna look at an area model to help me. So that means, I know, so it's the opposite. So if I read it as multiplication, it's almost like backwards, that this is a factor times a factor, and this is the product, if you think about it like that. So it's almost like I'm missing a factor, and I have a factor, and I have the product now. So if I think about it that way, and I go to fill it in, I think, well, wait a minute. That means I know what the total is, 48. And I know what one of the factors is, 3, but I'm missing the other factor. That is a question mark. That is unknown. So I kind of think, well, 3 times what is 48? It's not a basic fact. Oh, well, maybe I can start to just slowly build. What if I try something? It doesn't have to get me there all the way, but like, I don't know, what's 3 times 10? Well, 3 times 10 is 30. Oh, that's not the whole thing. I want 48 in the middle. That's how much I need. I need to fill it with 48, but so far I only filled it with 30. 8 minus 0 is 8. 4 minus 3 is 1. Oh, that means I still need to fill it with 18 more. Well, wait a minute. 3 times what would fill it with 18? So I already did 3 times 10. 3 times what fills it with 18? 3, 6, 9, 12, 6. 3 times 6 is 18. So now I filled the rest, so I don't need to fill it anymore. 30 and 18 make my 48. So wait, time out. Let's kind of, it's almost like reading. You've got to go back and summarize what you've done so far. So what did I do so far? I had 48 in the middle. I said I know 3 times some mystery number gets me 48. I did 3 times 10, but it wasn't enough. And then I did 3 times 6, and it got me there. Wait, that means 10 and 6 together. 3 times both of those got 48. That's 10 and 6 together is 16. So wait a minute. As a multiplication problem, 3 times 16 is 48. Now let me use inverse operation. That means 48 divided by 3 equals 16. Okay, we have been using standard algorithm, so if you feel the need to go ahead and check with multiplication, how can I check this with multiplication? Okay, check your work. Well, 16 times 3 better equal 48. I don't know, let's go ahead and check really quick. So 16 times 3. I'm using the opposite. Instead of using division, I'm using multiplication. 16 times 3, gosh, I hope this works. 6 times 3 is 18. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. Ha! It worked. So 48 divided by 3 is 16. Okay, so we're going to be taking some notes in our notebooks and doing a little bit more practice with this. Hopefully we can start to use what we know about multiplication to make better sense of division.